At this juncture, we must also acknowledge that many misunderstandings and unintended consequences have shaped the situation on the ground. What initially appeared to be a limited action soon escalated into something far more complex. The strike, launched against enemy-linked locations, was justified as a defensive move, yet its ripple effects spread across borders and communities. The killing of several individuals, including figures believed to have strategic influence, intensified tensions rather than resolving them. Of course, this development placed enormous pressure on regional stability, particularly in areas like Iraq and neighboring zones, where alliances are fragile and loyalties often divided. As events unfolded, it became increasingly clear that the operation was not an isolated incident, but part of a broader pattern of confrontation. The response was swift and in many cases disproportionate, leading to widespread fear among civilians. Reports emerged of close-range attacks, broken infrastructure, and the destruction of vital supply routes. These actions disrupted daily life, forcing families to flee and leaving cities struggling to maintain basic services. The death toll, though still debated, underscored the human cost of decisions made far from the battlefield. Meanwhile, international observers attempted to interpret the intent behind the strikes. Some argued they were meant as a deterrent, a message sent with precision. Others believed they signaled the beginning of a longer campaign aimed at weakening influence networks embedded across the region. In cities such as Albo City and surrounding areas, groups gathered in protest, expressing anger and grief. Government authorities responded with warnings and, in some cases, force, further deepening mistrust between the states. In the aftermath, regional powers reassessed their positions. Strategic partners held emergency meetings, attempting to calculate risks and prevent a wider conflict. Intelligence agencies analyzed patterns, trying to determine whether the strikes were centralized decisions or the result of fragmented command structures. This uncertainty added another layer of instability, as miscalculations could easily trigger further violence. Each side accused the other of provocation, while ordinary citizens bore the consequences. What stands out most is how quickly narratives formed and hardened. Media outlets, political leaders, and armed groups each pushed their own version of events. Facts became blurred, and public opinion was shaped by selective information. In such an environment, accountability became difficult to establish. Arrests were made, but questions remained about whether justice would truly be served or if these actions were merely symbolic gestures to calm public outrage. Ultimately, the situation highlights a deeper systemic issue. The reliance on military responses to resolve political and ideological disputes has repeatedly failed to produce lasting peace. Instead, it perpetuates cycles of retaliation and resentment. Societies caught in the middle experience long-term damage, weakened institutions, economic decline, and generational trauma. Rebuilding trust, once shattered, is far more challenging than launching any strike. As tensions continue, restraint and dialogue are more critical than ever. Without genuine efforts toward de-escalation and reconciliation, the region risks sliding further into chaos. History has shown that unchecked aggression rarely achieves its stated goals. Only through transparency, accountability, and sustained diplomatic engagement can there be hope for stability. Otherwise, the pattern will repeat, leaving behind more destruction, more unanswered questions, and more lives irreversibly changed.